Hello, everybody. Um, in the Black Owned Business Network. Hope everybody's doing okay. I wanted to stop by and just talk with you for a while about where you are in your current entrepreneurial endeavors, what visions and goals. Too much going on at one time. What your visions and goals are for your business, for your life, for your family, for your future in general. And, to give you some foundation on which to really associate that with. Before I get started, I want to let everyone know that for the first time ever at the Visionetics Institute, we are now doing a period, and I don't know how long it's going to last, but for a limited time, we're doing business breakthrough sessions and rapid change personal sessions. I don't have the information for the rapid change session, but if you just email me based on the information in there, in the post box for this video, I'll give you the questions that you need to answer if you want to participate in a business breakthrough session with me or in a personal rapid change breakthrough session, both of which are free. These are 30-minute rapid change breakthrough sessions. It's not meant to give you everything you need to get where you're going, but it is meant to clarify, clear up some things. If you've been struggling with procrastination, if you've been struggling with productivity, if you've been struggling with what we're going to talk about here today, decision making, making a decision, moving through it, how you're seeing and interpreting the environment, the stimuli, the events and situations that are occurring in your business, in your home, in your life, in your marriage, wherever it's happening at. We're going to talk about the importance of decision making, but whatever it is, every person is struggling with something or struggling with something different as they attempt to move forward and turn their visions and dreams into reality. They come to find out that it's not as easy as they think it is, that they don't gain the ground as rapidly as they think they do. They should. They don't have the momentum they think they should have. However, I just want to share that with you. But if you look in the post box, if you're watching this on Facebook, if you happen to be watching this video on YouTube or another one of my platforms, look in the description box and you'll see a questionnaire that you fill out, complete, and email. The email address is that. Email it to the support team at the Visionetics Institute. They're going to respond to you immediately. I say immediately, within 24 hours, they're going to respond to you and schedule a time for you to actually talk with me. And in order to meet the demand for availability, I will actually be conducting these sessions 7 days a week until we stop taking it. What will happen is we don't know, because we've never done this before, what the intensity volume will be, how high of a volume we're going to get. I can tell you now, I started it yesterday and we've already started booking appointments. So people are signing up for it. I don't know what the volume will be, but as long as we can meet the demand, we will. And at the point where we get too much volume, we'll open up a waiting list, and then we'll do a cutoff where we'll stop taking it all together and we'll honor those on the waiting list. But as for right now, there are spaces. And like I said, this is something you just contact me. We're going to sit down and talk to it. We're going to deal with business breakthrough ideas. We're going to deal with some of the things you're struggling with, some of the things that are leading you to getting your own way. We're going to talk about what's holding you up, why you're not making decisions, why you're not taking action, why you're not productive. Whatever the situation is, whatever it is you're struggling with that you need to deal with, or some issue that you don't know why you can't get past it. It may be strategic, it may be psychological, it may be simply the way you're interpreting what you're dealing with. But we're going to get through that. Also, we're doing a sweepstakes. You can read that in the description box as well, for the release of my 20th book, which is Critical Mass, which is a book about personal performance in every area of life. And we're releasing that on February 16th. And in celebration of that, we're doing a sweepstakes now where people are actually getting complete programs and courses where they work with me directly. They're qualifying by simply pre-ordering the book. You can see the information for that in the description as well. So let's move on. Let's talk. I'll remind you about all this stuff at the end. But let's talk. real briefly, this is not going to take long, but I want to point something to you. There's one force. There's one force in life. Anyone who has ever attended a seminar, read any of my work, read a book of mine, or heard me speak, understand that I deal with a pretty complex dynamic that is the holistic engagement of human behavior. But if you want to look at one force that is going to be the determining factor of how well you do in life, what direction you take in life, how far you get in life, whether or not you're achieving your destiny. If that's what you're looking for, that one force is decision making. Your decision making is going to determine your destiny. It's going to direct your path. It's going to be the dictator of how far you get in your marriage. It's going to be the dictator of how far you get as a parent or how well you do as a parent. It's going to be a massive impact. It's going to have a massive impact on how well you do at business. And so the thing is, most people talk about what they want. They talk about what it is in life they see themselves having. But one of the things they struggle with is decision making. The truth of the matter is you're actually making decisions, even when you're not making decisions. Your decision not to make a decision is a decision. And I'm not trying to muddy the water. I'm trying to get you to understand a dynamic. In other words, when you don't choose to make a decision, life makes a decision for you on your behalf. So you, by default, make a decision. And it might not be the decision you want, but you've got to learn how to be decisive. Now, the thing is, the first thing I tell people all the time is, when I look at people who are indecisive, they don't do well at being decisive and making decisions, is because they don't want to make the wrong decision. They want to make sure if they're going to make a decision, they want it to be the right decision. Well, first of all, I can tell you from experience, from over 30 years of experience as a business owner, even more experience endeavoring life as an athlete and as a writer, I can tell you, you don't always make the right decisions. You don't make the right decisions as a husband. You don't make all the decisions you make as a parent aren't always the right decisions. And the decisions you make as a business owner, as a leader in your business. And that's one thing you're going to have to understand. You're going to have the mindset of a leader to be a good business owner, because you are ultimately at some point going to have people working for you, whether they're working as employees or working as vendors and contractors. They're going to be responding to your personality. They're going to be responding to your status. They're going to be responding to your views and your decisions of how you're going to run your company. The image you present to your clients and your customers is going to be reflected in you first, and your decisive measure and how committed and focused you are on doing what you want to do. So, but there are 3 decisions that you're making every day, all day long. 3 decisions that you're making every day, all day long. When you learn to manage that decision cycle, because it's a cycle, one decision leads to the next decision, and then that leads to the next decision. And how you manage that cycle will train you and condition you and prepare you to make decisions consistently in your life, no matter what. But you're making these decisions every day, all day long anyway. You might as well prepare yourself and be more decisive in the decision making. See, even if you make the wrong decision, you can always go back and adjust, because you're going to have the capacity and the flexibility to adjust anyway, because you can make the right decision today and it'll be the wrong decision tomorrow. And you're going to have to be able to adjust in business. That's the new literacy for the world. Up until 2000, literacy was about being able to read, comprehend, and then apply. That's not literacy anymore. Literacy in the 21st century is being able to learn, unlearn, and relearn at a very rapid pace, because that's how things are evolving in the market, in business, in education, in social life, in technology. As soon as you learn something, there's something new, and you've got to unlearn what you've learned because it's evolved. It doesn't even work anymore. It's become obsolete. You've got to unlearn it, move over and learn something else. So you're learning, unlearning, and relearning consistently. The ones who are able to do this consistently in the 21st century are the ones who are going to be most successful, especially in the area of finance and business. And so you're going to have to be able to do that. Well, like I said, I get excited about what's going on right now, because I look around and while everybody is in a frenzy about cryptocurrency, everybody's in a frenzy about Bitcoin, Litecoin, and a number of other cryptocurrencies. But because I am a finance person and because I am a researcher and a reader, I really, really looked into it. And what got me excited wasn't so much the cryptocurrency, whether it's going to be able to survive the market over the long haul, whether it'll be able to survive the push of traditional money people, big banks, private banks, world banks, all those different things that are going to be pushing against it, the wealthy elite that's going to push against it, you know, the demand of the market corrections, all of the different things, the questions people have about crypto. That's not what's concerning me. What I got enamored by was blockchain technology. See, blockchain technology, and it's evolving, is what created cryptocurrency. Like, for instance, Litecoin has a stronger push and a stronger, on paper, it's stronger than Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin is worth more. Bitcoin was popular. It was the first out. It's got the popularity, and the price is basically almost all being driven by demand, where Litecoin was built by a different blockchain, and the blockchain that built it made it stronger. So we'll see how that plays out. But blockchain technology is going to completely change how we deal with each other completely in the digital world, whether it's on our phones, whether it's on our laptops, whether it's on our tablets, our desktops, and what other ways we start communicating with one another. Blockchain technology is going to have a massive impact over the next 20 to 40 years. It's going to dominate how we do business. All of the things you won't need blockchain tech. You won't need all of the different softwares that are currently available to try to protect your privacy and protect your money and all that stuff. Blockchain technology is going to do that. So that's where the real money is at. But that's going to change. It's going to evolve. Something else is going to come in. I'm going to have to unlearn what I know about it, relearn what's coming in, and then keep the ball moving. So that's the thing. But here's the 3 decisions that you are making daily, all day long. And when you learn how to master this cycle, you'll learn how to master the decisions you have to make in your business. Because see, your employees, your contractors, they're going to be looking at you to set the table, to set the state, to set the bar on how they deal with your clients. And how they deal with your clients is going to be a direct reflection of you. And then the decisions you make will also determine the confidence that your employees have in you as their leader. You are their leader. If you're the business owner, if you're the boss, then you're the leader. They're looking for you to set the state, the environment, the attitude in which they're going to do business, the level of engagement that they will take in the job. Or do you have a high standard of excellence in the way the job is meant to be done? Are you just showing up every day and you're just doing what you need to do to get it done? Are you showing up and you're demanding from yourself a level of excellence that they can read, they can see, and they can model? Because that's going to determine how well your business does. But let's talk about those decisions. The first decision that you make in any decision cycle is what to focus on. Those who follow me understand that I teach extreme polars. And what does that mean? That means that, to me, when you truly understand life, let's see, happy and sad are not opposites. They're 2 extremes of the same pole. Courage and fear, 2 extremes of the same pole. In other words, when you start moving away from one, you automatically move towards the other. Either way. So you're talking about poles. Well, when you determine what you're going to focus on, an event happens. And I can tell you that every event has good and bad in it. I don't care how awesome it is, you can find something bad in it if you want to. Have you ever found that person, ever seen that person that's angry all the time, sad all the time, or whatever? Whenever you see them, they're in that state, you go like, it can't be that bad. Everything can't be that. Well, everything isn't that bad. They're dealing with what everybody else deals with. Here's the thing. Most people are pretty much even keeled. They are happy sometimes, sad sometimes, angry sometimes, joyous sometimes, but most of the time in the middle. That's because they tend to see some good things, some bad things. Then you have those people who ain't happy about nothing. They pissed off about everything. That's because they always focus on the negative. They focus on what's wrong. They're going to find it. I don't care how good it is. No matter how good the news, they're going to find something wrong with it. You see them every day on social media. No matter how good it is, they'll come and say, well, it didn't do this or it didn't do that. That's how they're built. They're built to find what's wrong. And so their focus is on what's negative. Now you'll find the person, he goes, can't be happy all the time. They can't always be. But here's the thing. This is what's awesome about it. See, the person who doesn't know how to make decisions can't determine what they're going to focus on, and is capricious in how they focus on a situation, what they're going to choose to see in a situation. They're tossed to and fro by the vicissitudes of life. They're tossed to and fro by the ups and downs of life. So sometimes they're happy, sometimes they're all over the place. They can't predict how they're going to feel next week. If you ask me next Wednesday at 11 a.m., what frame of mind are you going to be in? I'm going to be in the same frame of mind I'm in now. Within a 60 to 90-second window of anything happening. What does that mean? That means that I've trained myself first and foremost that any event happens in my life, the first thing I do is find the good in it. I don't care how bad it is. I'm going to find the good in it first. I'm going to deal with the bad. If I lose a loved one or a relative, I'm going to deal with the bad. I'm going to get there. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find the good. The good is while they were alive, they touched my life. They blessed me. They were a gifting. They encouraged me. I'm going to find the good first. I'm going to find a reason to be grateful, because when you find gratefulness, when you find the ability, sustain the ability to always be in a state of gratitude, it's hard to be angry. It's hard to be sad. It's hard to be pissed off. It's hard to operate on all those levels of low frequency energy that create low vibrations that produce nothing but negative things. When you are in a situation where you are able to first identify, I'm going to focus on the good. I'm not in denial. I'm just going to focus on the good. Then when I focus on the good and I establish a level of gratitude, now I will process any negativity that I have to process. There are certain times that whatever is bad, I don't even have to deal with it. I know it's there, but I don't have to deal with it. Now, when you lose a loved one, you need to deal with it. You need to have the moment to grieve. But you need to establish a state of gratitude. Why? Because you want to establish and practice principles that allow you to maintain consistency no matter what you're going through. It's when you don't make a decision to choose what you're going to focus on and you're tossed to and fro all over the place, you end up in situations in which you're up 1 minute, down the next, and you're also indecisive and you make decisions that are not consistent with what you want. See, you want your decisions to be consistent with what you want out of life. So you need your decisions, regardless of what's happening at this current moment, to be what you want out of life. Because see, after this moment is over, no matter how horrible this moment is, when it's over, you still have the vision, you still have the dream, you still have the company, you still have the family depending on you. It's only so long life is going to let you wallow in something before it starts to drain you and take things away from you because you're not performing. So you need to be able to perform no matter what's happening. It's not being cold or callous to what's happening. It's saying that I still have a responsibility to perform. I have my family who needs me. I have my wife who needs me. I have my employees who need me. I have my clients who are depending on me to deliver to them a product or service at the highest level of quality possible. So I don't have the room or the space to fall apart because something didn't go right. I've got to be functional all the time. I've got to be operating on 10 all the time. The way that I do that is I decide what I'm going to focus on. So that's the first decision you make. What are you going to focus on? If your car runs out of gas, what are you going to focus on? If you get a call from the wife, say one of the kids is sick, what are you going to focus on? If you get news that you got that contract that you wanted, what are you going to focus on? I mean, it's easy to focus when you get the good news, but when you get the bad news, what do you choose to focus on? Because that's going to determine the state that you're in, and it's going to impact the following decisions. So the first thing you focus on as a business owner, as a husband, as a father, it doesn't matter. What you focus on is the good. You find it. That's the first decision. What am I going to choose to focus on in this situation? And if you go through and you actually monitor your day, what you chose to focus on sets your state for the next so many minutes or hours. It also set the direction of where you were going for the rest of the day. Why? Because how you think and what you feel sets your state. Your state determines how you engage situations. If you look at something and you focus on the part of it you can't change, that part you don't control, guess what automatically happens? The moment you focus on something you can't change, you become helpless. You feel helpless. You don't have control over it. You lose your sense of control. You lose your sense of confidence. You start to second guess everything. Why? Because you're focusing on what you can't control. In every situation, there is something that I can control, no matter how uncontrollable the situation may seem. That's what I'm going to focus on. I'm going to focus on what I can do to better the situation. No matter how bad it is, that's something I can do to make it better. That's what I'm going to focus on. That's the first thing. The second decision you make is, what does it mean to me? Your decision to interpret it. How do you interpret it? Is it going to end my business? Oh, this is just going to end my business. This whole new change, the new tax laws. Oh my God, these tax laws are going to totally destroy any chance I have of starting my business. These new tax laws are going to totally rip apart my financial infrastructure. These two new tax laws are going to change the way I deal with contractors. All of these different things. Oh my God, this is totally going to make it almost impossible. Whatever you focus on, how you interpret it, again, is going to determine what you do about it, which is the third decision. So the second decision is, what does it mean? You got to find the right meaning for it with a positive attitude. Now, if you made the right decision on number one, the first decision, what am I going to focus on? Now, when you interpret it, it's not a problem, because when you interpret it from a position of power, a position of control, a position of confidence, a position of hopefulness and anticipation and expectation of better things. Even when it's bad, even when it's horrible, even when it's terrible, when you make a decision that I'm going to focus on the positive, I'm going to focus on the things that I can change, then you interpret it based on what you're focusing on. Now, if you've done both the first two right, the third one is, what am I going to do about it? Now that's going to determine the outcome of your life. After you've chosen what to focus on and you've chosen how you're going to interpret it, when you determine within yourself what you are going to do about it, now you set the course and the path of your life, the course and the path of your company, the course and the path of the growth and expansion of your company. But you got to be willing to make a decision. See, when you don't make a decision, you make a decision in default. Your decision not to make a decision leaves you open to whatever happens. See, it's easier to make a decision, show assertiveness. I'll give you a prime live example. General Norman, I've read about this story. General Norman Schwarzkopf. He was the general who commanded the entire fleet, entire military grouping that moved against Saddam Hussein in Desert Storm. Not the most recent one, but the one back in the early 90s. It was General Norman Schwarzkopf. They called him Stormin' Norman. He was an unbelievable strategist, military strategist, combat strategist, and he had an unbelievable capacity to relate to his people. That's one of the things that when you talk to people who worked under him, they always almost all respected and loved him, because he related to them. He was able to teach them and talk to them and manage them in a way that wasn't condescending, even though he had one of the highest ranks in the U.S. military, period. And he did that, but he would make some decisions, and when asked how did he get to the point to where he's so decisive and he's able to deal with things, he said that when he was a young captain, he worked for a general at the Pentagon, and that was this thing that different branches of the government were going back and forth, different agencies were going back and forth on. It was a particular defense system or something like that, and they kept going back and debating different parts of it, and nobody could come to a conclusion. And they sit down with him, and within less than an hour, he sit down, okay, do that. And then he gets up and he goes off, and just like that, he made a decision to do it. And nobody else had a choice, because he was the head, and he said, do that. And that was the end of it. Everybody had to go do it. And Norman worked for him at the time. He wasn't anywhere close to being a general at the time, but he worked for him. So he went and asked him, he said, how did, whatever it is they say, permission to speak freely, And he gave him permission to speak freely. He said, I've been a part of putting this together for months. There's so much data on both sides of the argument that you could not have possibly had all of the information necessary to make the best decision. He said the response of that general was, I'm never going to have all the information. That's never going to be on. I'm never going to have all the information. A decision needs to be made. I made it. If it's wrong, we'll fix it. If it's wrong, we'll be that much closer to realizing that that's not the way to do it, and we'll take the other approach. But as long as no decision is being made, no progress is being made. And that's the mindset of a decision maker. A decision maker can't be so afraid of making the wrong decision that they can't make a decision. Make a decision and deal with it. Because what I can tell you is, from experience, you're going to make wrong decisions. You're going to make decisions and you're going to go, what the hell was I thinking? That's going to happen. That's going to happen in your business. That's going to happen in your marriage. That's going to happen in parenting. That's going to happen in all types of engagement in society. It's going to happen. Here's the thing. Make the decision. Be decisive. Be sure that this is the decision I'm going to make now. And I'm going to do the best I can to make this be what it needs to be. But if it's not, I am willing to make changes. I am willing to make adjustments. I am flexible enough to know, okay, that was a bad decision, and switch. That's going to determine whether or not you're successful. Not always making the right decisions. That's not what's going to get it for you. There's so many people sitting up waiting on all of the pieces of the puzzle to fall together. Let me explain something. William Hutchinson Murray once said that it's not until you make the decision and become committed to moving that providence reveals itself. It's not until you actually step out beyond what you can see and reason and rationalize that doors of opportunity begin to open. That things that you never thought could happen in your favor happen in your favor. It's because you committed to it. You took that act of faith, that step, that belief in yourself, in your purpose, in your vision, in your idea, and you stepped out beyond your own sense of reason. Because let me explain something to you. If you're dreaming and you have a vision, see, one of the things is we live in a world that has trained us to dwarf our visions, to engage colorless dreams, to sit up and manage things in a manner that we can see. And we go out, we don't take risk. We don't shoot for the stars. We don't aim for the fence. We just want to do something, so we get in this little box that we know if we just do this, this, and this, we'll get the results thereof, and we become satisfied with it. I say this to all the people I coach, every audience I speak to. I tell them this: look, if the vision, and it's a quote from Stephen Furtick, if the vision that you have for your life isn't so huge that it's intimidating you, it's a good chance that it's insulting God. It's a good chance it's insulting the Almighty, the Creator. However you view your existence in this world, the universe, you have purpose in this world. And when you sit up and you dwarf your goals, when you dwarf your visions, when you shrink down to find a place that if you just look at it, you can think it out and rationalize it, you ain't dreaming big enough. You ain't thinking big enough. You're not aspiring big enough. You're not pushing yourself outside of that comfort zone. You have become complacent in comfort. There ain't no growth in comfort. There is no advancement, no progression, no greatness in comfort. Comfort is the place of mediocrity. And one thing I heard Will Smith say, man, and I absolutely love this quote. How many times have I heard when I tell people some of the things that are going through my mind and I say I'm going to do it? And I remember telling somebody back when I was 19, I said, by the time I'm 50, I will have 50 different companies. And they said, you're crazy. That's not being realistic. And Will Smith said that being realistic is the fastest road to mediocrity. And I believe that. I'm 50 years old and I just launched business number 48. Didn't hit 50. 50 was, but think about what 50 looked like when it wasn't one. I remember when I said I was going to write 30 books. I'm going to probably exceed that because I'm about to release book number 20. If you read in the description book, book number 20 is all but done. We're fine-tuning it and we're releasing it next month on the 16th. That's 20. But I remember when it wasn't one and I was trying to publish it and nobody would publish it. I remember that. What if I would have quit? What if I would have stopped? What if I would have shrunk it back and said, well, I'm not going to write a book. I'm just going to write articles. I'm pretty sure I can get no articles published. I've written thousands of those. But I set a goal. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it. You see, I can't publish one. I'm going to publish 30. I'm at 20. And it's not something I'm going to fight and push. It's just staying consistent. It's just saying I'm going to do it and not quitting. It's saying I'm going to do it and not turn around. It's being willing to go the distance. It's being willing to step outside of my comfort zone and actually speak things that are not as though they were. It's actually taking action to do things people say I can't do without even knowing how I'm going to do it. Like Les Brown says, when you're making a decision to do something great, something beyond yourself, something bigger than you've ever done before, how you're going to do it is none of your business. Not at that time, not when you're making that decision, not when you're making that commitment. Why? Why is it not your business when you're making that commitment? See, to the person that keeps talking about being realistic, this doesn't make sense to them. Because this is why. No person that stood up and said they were going to do something astronomically crazy, the Wright brothers. I'm pretty sure if you sit up and you think about it in your mind right now, after seeing it millions and millions and millions of times, if somebody sit down and you hadn't seen it with your own eyes, and they said, we're going to take a piece of metal, we're going to bend it, we're going to put it in the shape of a tube, call it a fuselage, put engines on the side of it with wings, we're going to put a tail on it, and then we're going to guide it. This thing is going to fly. It's going to be tons. It's going to weigh tons. It's going to have hundreds of passengers on it, all kind of tons of luggage on it, tons of fuel on it, and we're going to fly it around the world and take people wherever they want to go in fractions of the time it takes them to get there on ships, trains, and vehicles. You say, come on, bro, that is not realistic. And they heard that. The Wright brothers heard that. And they didn't know how they were going to do it. You know how I know they didn't know how they were going to do it when they committed to it? Because they failed a bunch of times before they got it right. They just made up in their mind that they were going to be the ones that put humans in flight. Roger Bannister, first one to run the mile in under 4 minutes. You can't run the mile in under 4 minutes, Roger. It's never been done. Matter of fact, the belief says that if you run the mile in under 4 minutes, you won't live to enjoy it because you're going to die. That was the belief before 1954. And if you couldn't run the mile in 4 minutes, if you ran the mile, if some kind of way you happen to run the mile in 4 minutes, your heart would explode and you would die. So how many people were actually on pace to run it in under 4 minutes, recognized they were under pace, and subconsciously throttled down because of fear of what was going to happen if they succeeded? That happens in life every day. You throttle down out of fear. You shut down out of fear. You step back out of fear. You relent from pushing out of fear. But Roger said, not only can it be done, you're not going to die. And then they say, well, Roger, how did you do it? How did you train for it? Roger said, well, before I ever stepped on the track to train to run the mile under 4 minutes, I visualized myself coming across the finish line in under 4 minutes, thousands of times in my head. Over and over again, I ran that race. Over and over again, I ran that race. And by the time I stepped on the track to train, it just came to my body naturally. My body did what my brain told it was possible, that it could do. It simply responded to the demand of my brain, which I already knew it was possible, because in my brain, I had already lived it over and over again. And that's the difference. But the thing is, if you don't start reaching and challenging yourself, you're never going to get to those great things. You're always going to be in that box that someone put you in a long time ago. So no, you're not going to have all the answers. Make a decision. Make a decision that you're going to step outside of your comfort zone. Make a decision that you're going to be committed to doing something exceptional and extraordinary with your business. Make a decision that whatever industry you're in, whatever niche within that industry you're operating in, whatever part of the market that you're looking to take or seize, Make a commitment that you're going to be the best at it. You're going to do it in a way that no one else can do it, and you're going to excel. You're going to deliver a solution or an answer to a problem in a way that it has not been done. You're going to do it at the most unbelievably high level of quality, and you're going to do it in such a unique way that they cannot replace you. When you find that, when you find that thing that you have the solution to, you deliver the solution to the problem in a way that is exceptional and extraordinary. And then you do it in a way that cannot be easily copied, so you cannot be easily replaced. You write your ticket from that day. I have a number of different companies operating at the same time. I don't have all 48 anymore, but over the course of my life, 48 companies launched that I launched, that I was a part of the launch. Most of them solely, some of them as partnerships. But check this out. When you're sitting up and you're getting started, there are going to be a lot of things staring you down, challenging your belief in yourself. You got to make up in your mind what you're going to do. You got to make up your mind. I'm going to go and make a point right here. The Visionetics Institute, one of the companies that I'm running right now. Right now, I'm running 7 companies simultaneously. The Visionetics Institute is my flagship company. That's the company I'm passionate about. That's what I'm doing right here now. It's sharing with you some of the things that I do, some of the things I focus on. I help people reach that level beyond what they feel they can touch right now. And that's human behavior, that's human thought, that's human psychology, that's neuro-linguistic programming, that's neurosociative conditioning, that's so many psycho-cybernetics, all of these different mechanisms, disciplines, and techniques is something I'm doing. But check this out. The Visionetics Institute, when it first started, I was charging $75 a session. $75 a session. And that was the highest ticket that I had. Now, this is a while ago, of course. It was, a while ago. And then, I said, okay, it's time to start applying value. So I'm going to raise the value. I incorporated what I call escalating value. It's known in the industry as a value ladder. And all it is saying, okay, the entry level is here on the ground level. This is where people come in and start working with me on the basics. But then I have this program that offers this much more. What the basic allows is for the people who just want to come in and they need to get in. But see, what happens, I found out, is that when you have escalating value, when you have something you can give a person more, they understand that there is more. They understand that when they finish this, there's going to be something else they can go after. They understand that just by being around you, there's this progression that they're going to be able to experience because you have something more for them than they have right now. It isn't, okay, after I get this, then what? It's after I get this, I want that. And then you start building it. And now my highest ticket right now is $25,000. Now that's going to go up within the next year to $100,000. I've already created the mechanisms on which to do it. Now, what that means is, no, I don't have a whole bunch of people that can pay me $100,000. It's not a bunch of people that are going to pay $25,000, but I don't need it. That's just it. I've created a mechanism and a program and a course and a dynamic that allows me to do that. And it doesn't call for me doing a whole lot of trading of my time to make it happen. It's a part of the wealth building process, but it also allows me to execute my passion in an exceptionally extraordinary way. And so it's just a process, but it starts out with simply saying, I'm gonna get out there in the game and I'm gonna find what it is that people are really struggling with. What's the problem? I'm gonna find a solution. Well, I got into a market that at the time wasn't as hot as it is now, but then it got real hot. And so, okay, I think, how do I separate myself? How do I distinguish myself between the millions of people out there? How do I elevate myself? Then it's simple. You provide a solution to specific problems in a way that no one else can. You create a value in yourself. So I mastered numerous disciplines that allow me to come in and literally impact people's lives in as little as 30 minutes. Now, that doesn't mean everything you need you have in 30 minutes. It means that when you leave there, you're not the same person that came in. I can do that. I can help you deal with any specific issue within 30 minutes. And, and then from there, we move on out. But it's not beyond anything that you desire to do or want to do with your business especially if it's something that adds value to the lives of other people. It's going to be a way to make it work. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it's going to start with being able to make a decision. It's going to be able to be, it's called, you're going to have to make a decision and master decisions. And why it's important to master the decision-making cycle or the decision-making process. Remember, the first thing is choosing on what you're going to focus on. The second decision that you're going to always make in this decision cycle is determining what it means, interpreting what you focused on. The second is determining what you're going to do about it. Those decisions are decisions that are part of the grand decision. Every decision you make should be broken down into three decisions. What am I going to focus on? What does it mean? What am I going to do about it? And then you move on from there, but you've got to have these decision-making processes down, because you are going to have to make decisive moves consistently in business, or you are not going to be able to thrive and to move forward. I tell people all the time, as much as it's important to have a good business plan, have a good marketing analysis, have a good understanding of your market, have a good understanding of your target audience, and all of these different things that are part of the business strategy, the business model, the finance model within the business, unit finance, unit management, all of these different things that are really important. At the end of the day, your psychology is going to be the most transcendent force in whether or not you're successful. How do you view life? How do you see yourself? How do you approach life? What do you do? Are you easily shaken mentally, emotionally, and psychologically? Do you carry and harbor a lot of mental stress that translates into physical stress and anxiety? Or are you able to easily engage a situation no matter how that situation may present itself, and manage it through the decision-making process? What am I going to do about it? What am I going to focus on? What does it mean? What am I going to do about it? When you learn how to break down your decisions in that manner, and then you determine, I'm always going to engage a situation. I'm never going to run from the decision. I'm never going to run from the situation. I'm always going to make the decision and deal with the consequences. Sometimes I'm going to be right. Sometimes I'm not. I'm going to live with that. What I'm not going to do is allow myself to be backed down by life. This is what I can tell you. When you make that decision right there, that I will not be backed down by life, when you make that decision, life will begin to bend. At that point, you will be able to demand of life what it is you want, and life will pay the price. Life will pay whatever price you demand of it if you are a decision maker. If you're committed to taking action, life will do that. I didn't plan on being here this long, but I did want to share that with you. Like I said, when you watch this video, at whatever point in time that you watch this video, if you would like to have a free 30-minute breakdown, business breakthrough session, or a free 30-minute rapid change personal breakthrough session, get the information there. There are a number of questions. Complete those questions, give the information that's requested, then email the address there, and we will take your application. Someone will be in contact with you within a 24-hour period, and then we will schedule your breakthrough session with yours truly. We'll get that going, and we'll make some things happen. With that being said, I appreciate you taking the time to stop by. I really hope you'll share this video. I know it's a little lengthy. I'm just not a person that believes in snippets, because life doesn't happen in a snippet. You don't learn massive change in a snippet. I try to give a person enough information that if they sit down and they watch this whole video, they can walk away with something and be completely different. That's the goal every time I sit down to do a video, every time I show up at a seminar, every time I show up at a conference, when I'm writing a book, when I'm working. I want every encounter to be something that a person can take and be a little better. It's great to drop one-liners. It's great to drop 3-minute videos. That's what they tell you now in social media. You got to keep it kind of short because people's attention spans. I'm not expecting anybody to get it all in one sitting, but what I'm expecting is something to register. And every person is not looking for the same thing. And I want something to register at such a level that it moves you to take action. I'm hoping that the action will be that you step into the next level of whatever it is you're doing. It may be that I may be able to help you. Whatever that situation is, that's what it is. But like I said, for those who want to take advantage of the business breakthrough session, the free business breakthrough session, fill out the information, email us, and we will get back to you. In the meantime, you got to go out and make it happen. Don't be out hustled. Don't let anyone come after you and their grind be stronger than yours. Grind on GP. Go out there and just grind. I mean, that's something to be said for energy, effort, and work. Sometimes you don't know what to do, but just don't stop. Don't stop. Don't give up. Don't quit. One of the things I always say is no surrender, no retreat. Another thing I always say at the end of every conference, lecture, speech, no matter where I'm at, one thing I always say is I'm going to die on E. I am going to die on E. I refuse to let any of my potential go to the grave with me. I challenge you to do the same thing. With that being said, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievably awesome day, and we will talk again. Hopefully, Tiffany and I will be on towards the end of the month or the beginning of February as business things. So, like I said, I just launched a new business here in Houston Executive Lounge, which is a members-only upscale cigar bar. And so we're getting that kicked off here in Houston. So it's a lot going on with that, and I'm excited about it. I'm big on hand roll quality cigars, and to be able to do this is one of those dream come true things where you sit up and you always at the cigar bar. So, man, I'm gonna open my own cigar bar, and here it is. So I said it and follow through on it, and it is just kind of funny how those things go, but that's kicking off. We're actually launching on February 1st here in Houston, and we're going to eventually be looking to open in some more markets across the U.S. In the future. So, hey, if you're about those sticks, good stick, and you're in Houston, get at me, because we will be opening up and accepting members starting February 1st. We'll also be looking to launch in other areas. It may be a good business opportunity for you. Whatever it is, dream it and then make it happen, man. You only live once. You only live once. With that being said, I'm out of here. Peace.